Hi aspirants, welcome to this channel. Hopefully you're doing good with your preparation and with your health. So last video we discussed about the corrections and the changes that we are going to do in the mains answer writing. Now from this video we'll be discussing previous year questions coming from GS1, GS2 and GS3. So we'll go with the GS1 part first. This is the syllabus of GS1. So it covers the subtopics like history, art and culture, Indian society, geography. So whatever the question that is being asked in this subtopic, we'll be discussing from 2016 to 2026. Okay. So we'll be discussing the questions that has been asked in this subtopic. So this is the question for the day. This question appeared in 2016 for 12.5 marks. So this 12.5 marks was actually in 2016. Now this has changed. Usually the UPSC exams ask a question for 10 marks, 15 marks. Okay. Now before I discuss how to write the answer, we'll address the demand of the question. I'll be discussing every word here. So before I discuss, let me read the question first. Okay, the question goes like, Krishnadevaraya, the king of Vijayanagar, was not only an accomplished scholar himself but was also a great patron of learning and literature. Discuss. Now before we discuss the word Krishnadevaraya, we'll look into the word Vijayanagar. Okay, now if we see the history books, Vijayanagar Empire actually controlled the southern part. Okay, they actually conquered and controlled the southern part. Now how did they actually extend their empire? They actually incorporated the provinces where people were speaking different languages. Which are those different languages? Kannada, Tamil, Telugu. So there were provinces where people spoke these languages. They incorporated these provinces into their territory. Okay. Now, since the territory was very vast, the king actually handed over some provinces to the military commanders, and they were called Nayakas. Okay, Nayakas. Eventually what happened, these Nayakas became very powerful. They became very powerful and they were actually started collecting the agriculture taxes, and they were like controlling the provinces like a landlords. Okay. Now what happened, in fact if I have to say, they were like economically and military very powerful. In military and economically they were very powerful, and these Nayakas or these landlords were actually looking for an opportunity to become independent from this Vijayanagar Empire. Okay, see, I cannot discuss everything about Vijayanagar Empire here, so I am just saying how Vijayanagar Empire was. Okay. Now Krishnadevaraya, the word Krishnadevaraya. See, Krishnadevaraya did not have royal lineage, which means his father actually came to the throne by overthrowing the old kings. He was actually military general. So his son, that is Krishnadevaraya, did not have a royal lineage. Now, there were some landlords, local chief. They did not even consider Krishnadevaraya coming to the throne. Okay, they did not have even thought about Krishnadevaraya coming to the throne. This was how it was. Okay. Now, observe the king. Observe this king. See, in Vijayanagar Empire, to be a king was not an easy task, because Vijayanagar Empire was like a fractured kingdom. They had multilingual territory, and there were powerful landlords who always wanted to become independent. The Vijayanagar Empire was like this, and for that, king's position was not an easy task. Now, during this time, Krishnadevaraya will take the throne. He will become the king. Okay. Now, during this time, how does a king with no royal blood force this fractured country, force this fractured kingdom to respect his power, to respect his power? How do you keep control over powerful local landlords? So Krishnadevaraya realized, see, for a Vijayanagar Empire to be united, to keep this Vijayanagar Empire in as a unity, we cannot use sword. We cannot use sword alone. We want something other than this, that is called soft power. This soft power we also use in this modern times, right? Soft power like negotiation between the countries. So likewise, Krishnadevaraya also used soft power. That takes to the next part of the question. Accomplished scholar himself, but was also a great patron of learning and literature. He used two weapons to keep this Vijayanagar Empire unified and also keep control of powerful local landlords. Okay, how? First weapon is accomplished scholar himself. He holded a pen by himself to write the laws. To write the laws on trade, to write the laws on tax collection, port administration, like this. Okay. Next. Now the second weapon is patron. Patron is nothing but funding, supporting. Okay. Now patron, this funding actually came from the state capital. State capital. Okay. Now imagine, why would a king use his state capital to fund the scholars? Why? He should be using the state capital for military expansion, acquiring the territory, or welfare of the people. He should be using for those things, no? Why is he using all those state capital for scholars or for funding multilingual temple inscription? It is because he wanted the Vijayanagar Empire to be united. He doesn't wanted Vijayanagar Empire to be broken, disintegrate. Okay, he's showing that the king as a active political strategist. You're getting my point, right? Now, aspirants generally see this two lines. They will see these two lines and they will think that, okay, they will see these two lines and they will think that King Krishnadevaraya had a hobby or interest in the literature, so hence why he promoted that, or he wrote a book for himself. No, see, the hidden demand or the hidden thing here is he used these tools. He used this as a soft power to make sure Vijayanagar Empire did not disintegrate. That is the hidden demand in this question. Okay, now usually aspirants will give 10 points in the body by saying he funded this scholar and he funded this temple architecture and he wrote this book, and they will conclude the answer. No, you have to understand what is the demand of the question. Okay, now the last part is discuss. Okay, the last part is discuss. See, in UPSC official language, discuss means, usually discuss, general aspirants will write the entire story about this because they have asked word discuss. No, discuss means you have to give the evidence. See, they are giving you the statement. What is that statement? See, accomplished scholar himself. He was a great patron of learning and literature. when they are giving you the statements like this, you have to prove it. You have to prove and give your final verdict. This is what the meaning of discuss. Evidence, for example, evidence. Now we will say Krishnadevaraya as a state. Now we will say Krishnadevaraya as a scholar king. Okay, scholar king. Now prove this thing. How do you prove this Krishnadevaraya was a scholar thing? You will prove by writing he wrote a book called Amukta Malyada, and in final verdict you are going to give your own judgment. That is what the meaning of discuss. Okay, now we'll see the model answer that I have written. So the model answer that I have written in introduction, I have written, see, usually aspirants say that Vijayanagara Empire, they will start giving the dates from this year to this year, or else they will start giving the dates like 16th century. You should be discussing like this. So the Vijayanagara Empire was too large. Obviously it controlled the southern part, and it had too many languages in the sense Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, to be held together by sword. Okay, but only by using army, only by using military, you were not able to hold the Vijayanagara Empire. And also to stop this local rebellion, as I have discussed earlier, there were some landlords who always wanted to become independent, right? They did not wanted to be with Vijayanagara Empire as a unified kingdom. So for that, Krishnadevaraya as a king of Vijayanagara Empire used a dual role. He was a scholar by himself and patron for literature and language. He used soft power to unite deeply divided subjects. This you will be writing in the introduction. Okay. The next part is dual identity of Krishnadevaraya. You will be seeing his personal scholar. He was a personal scholar. For that you will be giving an evidence. He wrote Amukta Malyada, that was in Telugu, which gave political rules. In Amukta Malyada, as I have discussed earlier, there was rules like trade, rules on trade, rules on taxes, that you will be writing here. What is this impact? What did it actually impacted? This helped the state control the foreign horse trade and block weapons supply from enemy kingdom. Okay, this Amukta Malyada was written by Krishnadevaraya. He used the pen to write this. He used his own pen to write this book. In this book, he wrote about the trades, taxes, all such things. Now in evidence 2. In evidence 2, we are saying he composed Jambavati. He composed. You will be writing all these things. If you write in the sentences, it would actually take it would cross the word limit. Okay, so you can write like this. He composed this, and the impact was he proved northern kingdoms that southern rulers were smart to rule the whole country. Okay, now evidence 3, you will be putting evidence 3. In evidence 3, he was actually fluent and he wrote in Telugu, Sanskrit, Kannada, Tamil, right? And how did this impact? You will be writing like this. This broke language barrier and let him communicate to leaders across all borders. Okay, that was the impact of being fluent. Next, the next identity part. First identity part, we spoke about personal scholar. The second identity, king as a great patron. For that, What is the evidence that you are giving? He carved his royal poems and land laws onto the stone wall. Where? In Vittala temple, Hazara Rama temple. What was the impact for this? You will be writing, this turned public buildings as open libraries, which served as a knowledge permanent to everyone. And in evidence 2, he kept 8 great poets, Ashtadiggajas, including Tenali Ramakrishna, in his royal court. What was the impact for this? He used Tenali Ramakrishna. He was a street level comedian, and he made jokes, and he also mimicked the corrupt officials. And they actually were getting the real news from common people by doing like this. So what is the, you will be writing this in the impact. In evidence 3, he funded outer linguistic circles, patronizing Kannada poet like Timmanna Ravi, Tamil scholar Kumara Saraswati. What was the impact of this? The impact was this removed the border rivalries and made all religion feel they were part of the one, they feel they were a part of single empire. Okay. And also, see the evidence which I am going to give here and the evidence which I have given here, are you not observing that I am giving the points equally in both the identities of Krishnadevaraya? See, generally what happens, aspirants do this mistake. See, they will actually, if for example, there is a body, for example, I am not discussing about this question, okay. For example, there is a body and it was, and you were supposed to write challenges or problems, and then you will be stating the solution. Usually what happens, aspirants will actually start giving challenges or problems. They will start giving points like more number of points. Okay. Here they will start giving less number of points. Like they will conclude their solution just with the 4 points. See, examiners actually will find out that this aspirant who are going to write like this doesn't have a futuristic mindset. If you are stating more number of problem and if you are not giving solution, which means you are not a bureaucrat mindset. You as a bureaucrat, you should be thinking more about solutions rather than problems. So try giving equal points in all subheadings. Okay. Now, next, contemporary relevance. So see, if you write this contemporary relevance in your answer, the examiners will actually have this mindset, okay, oh, this aspirant is actually thinking about history and he is linking to the modern governance or modern statecraft. Okay, I am using a word here, vector. Vector means a push. Instead of writing significance or benefits, start replacing those words with this words, that is vector. In vector, what am I writing? Writing statecraft rule in local language mirrors India's push for education in mother tongue. What is the example for it? Obviously, national education policy. In this policy, we are actually trying to promote mother tongue, right, for education. So that you will be writing in the vector 1. In vector 2, what you are going to write? Craving literature onto stone temple walls is ancestral version of today's India's national virtual library, digital heritage archives, right? So that you will be writing in the vector 2. Okay. Now, what you will be writing in the conclusion? In conclusion, you will be writing this timeline. See, in conclusion, you will be writing Krishnadevaraya 1505 to 1529 turned the literature into tight administration rope to bind deeply broken segmentary state. You will be writing, this is the final verdict. I have said no, the question asks you to discuss. In the conclusion, you are going to give your final verdict. That is what I have also given here. Understood with this question? Okay. So hopefully you are benefiting from this session. We will be coming with the next question in the next session.